Now, Agent Carter, on the other hand, as opposed to Gotham, really blew me away this week, unexpectedly so. Now, given how things were left at the end of the last episode, Peggy being arrested and Dottie getting away, I thought this would be sort of a slower episode, with Peggy basically spending the entirety of it being interrogated by the SSR and just kind of going back and forth. I thought this would be kind of a slower episode that would sort of pave the way or build up the finale. But no, this episode was actually really awesome. It's possibly even better than last week, which last week I thought was a particular highlight for this episode, for this season. This show, Agent Carter, in its relatively short time on the air, which I really wish more people were watching it because it's actually a pretty good quality show, but in its relatively short time on the air, it has honestly gotten better and better. Really started to find its groove, really started to flesh out its characters more. And really woven this honestly pretty intriguing mystery around Leviathan and sort of tying that in with Howard Stark's inventions. And above all, it has made the character of Peggy Carter a main character, whereas in Captain America she was a supporting character. However, Peggy Carter at this point is now the most interesting. She was always one of the more interesting female Marvel characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but now she is without a doubt the most fleshed out. She is the best. And this may be... Actually, no, I don't think this is pushing it at all. I will say that Bridget Regan as the sort of primordial Black Widow, Dottie Underwood, she is a much better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson. I know I'm in a minority on this, but Scarlett Johansson, I think, is terrible in these movies. I mean, she's just so boring and bland and monotone. She doesn't really have a whole lot of expression to her face. She doesn't really have a whole lot of intrigue to her. There's not really a whole lot of mystique to her performance. So I've always thought Scarlett Johansson was pretty miscast as Black Widow. But for the version of the sort of primordial Black Widow that they seem to be going for Dottie Underwood, man, Bridget Regan knocks it out of the park. Really, a lot of the people in this show I've liked more and more as it's gone on. Now, this episode in particular, one of the more interesting moves that this episode made, and something that I thought would make it a pretty slow episode, was that most of it, if not all of it, took place in the SSR headquarters. Okay, Peggy is being interrogated. The episode starts off that way, but really that's a bit of a montage and used for some pretty meaningful character building where some good points are raised. Sousa feels very betrayed, being the only one who really stuck up for Peggy, and now he feels very betrayed how she would basically go up and stab him in the back. So his anger is very justified, and you have Thompson, who again I never really liked Thompson, but now seeing him grow as a character and seeing him see Peggy in a new light, he basically says to her, they're going to ask me to come in and use my methods of interrogation, and I really don't want to do that. I really don't want this to get messy. You saved my life, so please tell them what you know. And then you have Chief Dooley, who is more and more under the influence of the Russian guy, the Ralph Brown's character. Ralph Brown, I believe is the guy's name. So you have all three of these guys interrogating Peggy in this very well done montage, and Peggy basically saying, you think you know me, you think you have it all figured out, but really the reason I was able to slip under your noses so easily was because all of you saw me as just a glorified secretary. So really, really good character moments in this one. And at the same time, it's continuing the trend of the previous episode in really, really bringing a lot of these mysteries into the light. For instance, the Battle of Finau, I think that was the name of the place, where basically you had this entire army get slaughtered, but everyone denied any any part that they played in said slaughter, because no one was actually saying, oh yeah, we killed all those guys. No, we now know what happened. It was one of Howard Stark's inventions, and we now know why Howard Stark was so angry at the Battle of Finau. So there's that. This is a spoiler warning. If you want my quick review, watch this episode, watch this show. It's really, really good quality. But this is a spoiler. Howard Stark's invention, one of Howard Stark's most dangerous inventions, is stolen. This is an invention that Jarvis, who knows most of Howard Stark's inventions, he has no idea what this thing does. Dottie takes it into this movie theater in a baby stroller. Again, seeing her again embrace this very innocent hometown girl image to effortlessly fool everyone was really something, and really something I'm liking out of Bridget Regan's performance that I feel we never really got out of Scarlett Johansson's performance. But again, I'm done ragging on her. So she takes Howard Stark's invention into this movie theater in a baby stroller. And she releases this gas, and basically it stimulates intense aggression and violence in basically all of the audience members in this movie theaters, to the point where they beat each other to death. Okay, because when the theater attendant opens up this movie theater, it's just a big pile of bodies. Which I actually thought was pretty intense for ABC. I didn't really think they would show as much as they did on ABC. Again, it's not as nearly as bloody or gory as something like Game of Thrones, or something maybe you would find on Cinemax, like on the Nick or something. But again, it was actually pretty. They showed a lot for ABC. I suppose it could have been worse. They could have showed this on ABC Family and have tons of angry parents. But again, I digress. Now, in addition, some of the characters, or basically all of the characters, I think got their moment to shine. Yeah, I still think the whole hypnotist angle that they have with Ralph Brown's character, the Russian guy, I still think that's a little bit of a stretch. I keep thinking, as opposed to last episode, in this episode, I theorized that the writers were thinking, we have to have the Russian doctor get from point A to point B, and we have to have this happen to the SSR, this catastrophic event happen to the SSR. We have to have this character get killed off and set the heroes back. But we don't know how to do that we don't really know how to do that in this short time frame that these events are taking place in. I know, hypnotism. We'll use the hypnotism angle. So they use that. And I really think that if this Russian doctor had been brought into play earlier in the show, and if we would have had him be sort of this manipulator, I don't know, from episode 2 onwards or something like that, maybe even episode 1 onwards, then I would have bought this whole plot thread a lot more. How he is so easily manipulating these SSR agents, even Chief Dooley. Chief Dooley is just rendered completely helpless by this guy's mental prowess. And the thing is, if this guy had any kind of comic book superpower, like Professor Xavier powers of manipulation, then I would buy it. But again, this is supposed to be a normal guy, and they're bringing this concept into a show that, for the most part, has been at least more grounded than a lot of the other Marvel properties that we've seen on the screen lately. So yeah, I just thought the hypnotism angle was still pretty out of place, but again, it was completely outweighed. My frustration with this was completely outweighed by the enjoyment that I got from a lot of the characters, because even though all of this crazy stuff is happening at the SSR, the show never loses sight of the fact that Peggy is the main character. They keep her active. They still say, hey, Peggy is the main protagonist. We have to have her active in the story. But again, it all feels very organic. And some of her interactions with the SSR agents, specifically coming clean about basically what she's been doing since the beginning of the show, I thought was really well done. So so yeah, in terms of the characters, I thought this episode was well done. In terms of the escalating drama, I thought this episode was well done. In terms of the mystery behind Leviathan and Howard Stark's inventions, I thought this episode was exceedingly interesting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to how this hopefully only the first season of Agent Carter ends. I hope this gets a second season. But again, I'm just sort of thinking out loud. Watch this episode. It's awesome.